Hey, welcome back. All right, so today I want to show you how you can use your scrap fabrics to make some fall DIYs. So let's get right into it. All right, for the first one, we're going to be doing scrap flowers. So you want to do them about 30 something inches long and then about 2 or so inches wide. But I was using the quarter square and they're not that long. So you can use something shorter, but you should probably use about 30 inches or so. But just wanted to show you. So for this style one, you can cut the little peaks individually, but I'm just going to fold the fabric a few times and then just basically cut little peaks into it. So you can, it's no particular way to do it. If you want to do it the folded way, it's just going to be cutting little peaks. Try to make the points as sharp looking as possible. These scissors were giving me many troubles because they're my crafting scissors, so I was using them instead of using the fabric scissors because it was layered up so much. I didn't want to cut it with the fabric scissors, but I had to change that because it was giving me a lot of problems. But like I said, you just want to go in there cutting peaks, so cutting little long triangles out, or I don't know what to call them, but you're just going to cut the pieces out to make the little peaks, and then when you're done, it should have the shape you want it to have. But make sure you use a good pair of scissors to do it so that you don't have any issues. So you can see my peaks right there aren't that sharp. I went in later on and cleaned them up, and then like I said, I used a better pair of scissors to not have that problem. So once you do that, then you're just going to basically bunch it up. So it's just folding it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're going to take a needle and thread. You could use glue, but I took a needle and thread and just took the needle from one side and just in and out, in and out, in and out, spacing it about maybe a ½ an inch apart, going in and out, and then pulled it through and tied a knot. And then you're done with your flower. I didn't loop it around like in a circle because I wanted it to have a organic type shape, if that makes sense. So that's why I did it that way. This first one isn't the best example because like I said, I had to go in and change the scissors, but you'll be able to see in the end how it worked out. And then this is just a linen fabric that I had some scraps of also, that I just really couldn't think of what to do with it because it wasn't enough to make a complete outfit. But I did want to save it because linen does cost a bit at times. So I'm just going to do the same type thing with the folding it, but I'm going to do a different shape on this flower. For this flower, it's going to have like more of a traditional petal shape. So I'm just trying to cut the bottom a little bit even, and then I'm just going to fold it about the width of each petal that I want. So I'm going to cut out one petal to do all the petals. So in the fold, so I'm just coming in about a ½ inch or so up, and then just cutting along. You can see this one is a little wider than 2 inches, but that's okay. You can do it bigger, you can do it smaller. You don't want to do it too big because it'll be floppy because it is fabric, and you don't want to do it too small because it'll be hard to work with. But you can vary and change it as you want. And again, I'm just going to go with the in and out, in and out, in and out like I did with the other one. And you can see this one take its shape a little better because of the petal-like shape. Again, you're just going to tie it off at the end and do a couple of knots so that you can make sure it's nice and secure, and you can fiddle around with it to give it the shape that you want to give it, and then that's it. And the stiffer the fabric that you use, the more it's going to hold its shape. So once I was done making all my flowers, I got this bowl that I used in my house. It came from Target, and I just filled it with paper so it gets a little elevation. You can fill it. I did another one on my home decor channel, another bowl kind of like this, but not with fabric flowers, and I'll put the link below. But you can fill it with moss, you can fill it with anything, but just to give it a little bit of height. And then I just came in with the flowers and with a little bit of greenery, so it's just from the fake flowers that I have. I just take off the little green part and then just placing those in to give it a real flower look. And you can just place them randomly all around. You can hot glue it if you want it to be permanent, but I didn't need it to be permanent, so I just placed them around, placed in a little greenery, and then when I was done, I had a perfect little centerpiece thing or just a decorative bowl. And it is so pretty, and because you're using fabric, you can use whatever colors go with your home, you know, and I think it's nice and neutral. All right, so let's get into the next one. For the next one, you're just going to be using, you can use batting. I'm using scrap fabric to fill mine, but you know, it's fall and everybody loves a good pumpkin. So I'm going to do a fabric pumpkin. This one is another scrap piece of fabric that I had. So it's about 17 inches, maybe about 6 or 7 inches high. You don't have to be specific with it, but you know, you just want to get a shape good enough so that you can have the size pumpkin that you want. For this one, I'm showing you that you can glue it closed, but you can easily just hand stitch it closed, machine stitch it closed, you know, face it right side to right side, and then just close it up some type of way. And then you're going to close up the bottom. Again, you're just doing it right side to right side, closing it up. Again, you can sew it, you can use fabric glue. I'm using hot glue just because that was what was near me. And then kind of bunch it together so that it can start to take shape. So when you're using the glue, you're just gonna kind of bunch it up so that it forms the whole little bottom piece. And you're using glue, so you don't have to let it dry before you turn it the right way out. If you were sewing it, you don't have to wait for it to dry because you are sewing it, and then you just turn it right side out and then begin to stuff it. Like I said, you can stuff it with batting, you can stuff it with scrap fabrics, just something that is soft that you can move around. So I just took this scrap fabric and cut it into smaller pieces, because if you do it in bigger pieces, it kind of takes one shape as opposed to being able to move it around and getting it to shape that you want it to have. So then now I'm going to close up the top. I'm going to hand sew it closed, and if you did the bottom this way, this is how you would do it. So I'm just taking the middle, sewing it together, tying a knot, and then sewing in the other pieces to get it to bunch up to look like a bowl or a pumpkin. I also, in my other video that I'm going to link below, did a velvet pumpkin, and that one didn't require any sewing. You didn't need to sew at all for it, but you still got the whole pumpkin shape and stuff. But for this one, you're going to just do a little bit of sewing, or like I said, you can glue it. I'm just going to bunch it all closed, so I'm sewing the ends and then sewing it all together so that it all meets in the middle, because you don't want the sides to have the fabric all bunched up or on the sides, because then you'll see it once you're done. So after you're done with that, then you can just come back in with any thick style thread. You can use embroidery thread. I'm just using a ribbon type thing that I had, that I bought a lot of it. I didn't realize the gold was going to come off every time you cut it, so I really couldn't find a good use for it, so I'm just going to use it for this. And you're just going to tie it around to give it that pumpkin shape, because you know the pumpkins have the little lines in it that go up and down. So I'm just tying it one middle along the other side, and then along the other peaks, and you're pulling it tight so that it can have that little indentation in it and have the pumpkin shape. If you were using something softer in the middle, you could take a big needle and come in through the bottom and go out, and come in through the bottom and go out. But this way for me is easier, and because I'm using the fabric, it's kind of hard to get a needle through the whole thing, because you can't really mush it down and have it come through. So this way is easy and simple for me to do. So I'm just tying it at the center for each one that I do, making sure everything is lined up nice. You can play around with it and until it gets the shape that you want it to have. And then when you're done, you just need a topper for it. I'm using these little wood like tree stump things I have and just hot glue them on, but you can use different things. If you pull up extra fabric, you can wrap twine around it and give it the shape. But there's many different ways you can do the top. But like I said, I'm just using these because I have these. And then that's it. Once it dries, you're done. And you have a cute little fall pumpkin. So that was it for today's EC DIYs that you can do with your scrap fabrics. If you like, please give it a big old thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe so you can follow along on this little DIY journey. All right. See you in the next one.